Happy Mother's Day out there. I'm the ghost songwriter, and this is the second podcast of a series about writing original songs and channeling people from the past, some distant people from history, some that are more known. I'm your host. My name is Patrick Michael Karnahan, and I play with the group the Black Irish Band. We formed back in 1989. I've been the principal songwriter of the band since that time, and I've written a few songs. And being a ghost songwriter, I just use that term because I'm channeling inspiration from people that have passed on to another realm, possibly. I don't know where it comes from. Sometimes some songwriters don't understand. Sometimes the songs just appear. You hear them in the morning, you wake up, or throughout the day. Most of the songs I write are of historical nature, but sometimes they're more personal. And sometimes the personal songs are somewhat harder to write just because you're familiar with the people you're writing about very closely. My location right now, by the way, is at my family ranch, which is located in Jamestown, California. This tree that's directly behind me is called the Lazarus tree. And this is a special Mother's Day presentation. For the second in the series, I wanted to discuss Mother's Day and mom in general, but a little bit more on the tree behind me, the Lazarus tree. This is an old oak tree. It probably dates back to the 1800s, probably sometime. For years and years, I thought, most of us thought it was dead, and but I thought, what the heck? So I ran way out there. I ran a small little garden hose out to that tree, and I named it the Lazarus tree for two reasons. One, there's some old barbed wire that's wrapped around that the tree has grown around. You can see where the bark, I'm sure you've seen that maybe before, where a tree will go around barbed wire, and it kind of reminded me something about the crown of thorns and Jesus. So, and then on the second thing is I brought a little water to it after thinking it had been dead for years, watered the tree, and in a year, all of a sudden it started to grow again. Hence the name Lazarus tree. So I thought it would be a perfect location for today's program. Getting back to the ghost songwriter, writing songs of a more personal nature, which makes maybe this podcast more difficult than some others. I'd like to dedicate this to our moms out there, since it is Mother's Day. For many of you, you probably aren't celebrating Mother's Day with your mom. Like me, we've lost our mothers. You know, just it's part of being alive. People are in our lives, and then they're no longer there. Moms are very special people to us growing up. My mom was everything to me. That's why I'm wearing the Superman shirt today in honor of my mom. She made me a super person, I thought, in a lot of ways. She was super mom. Her name was Ruthanna Marie, and she was born in Kansas, actually. And then she immigrated out here during World War II. And when her and my father married, they lived in Hawthorne, California, and they had me. And my mom was everything. I mean, she took care of me, nurtured me. I remember when she dropped me off at kindergarten, I was just so sad to leave her, because it was the first time, you know, for children a lot of times to be away from the parents' kindergarten. And I remember dropping me off, and I cried. I tried not to cry, but it was hard. I'd never been alone like that before, and I was so glad when I got home. But as we get older, there's many times that we're not around our parents as much. We try to be, but most of us move off to different places. We try to see our moms as much as we can. And again, our mom been the hero, the one that would always be there for us. I know anytime that I did anything bad at school, my mom would always take the phone call, and she would never tell my dad, because my dad would swat me on the butt. So, you know, mom was everything. And as the years went on, I tried to visit mom, Ruthanna, as much as I could. And up to, well, she passed on in 2017. I was actually flying back from England on a plane. It was June 6, 2017. And I arrived in San Francisco airport, and I remember arriving in the airport on the plane with all the folks, and then on the intercom the captain called my name, which I thought was highly strange. At first I thought maybe something had happened to my father, because my father had been alive. He was quite a bit older than my mom. His name is George, and that's what I first thought, because he was having some medical issues. He's battling cancer. And they called me up the front of the plane in front of everybody, and sure enough they said that we need to process you through customs, which they did in front of everybody. Took me off the plane. At that time I got a phone call from my sister, and said my mom had a massive stroke. So they flew me down to Southern California where she was living. So over 3 weeks she struggled. She was somewhat conscious, where I could talk to her a little bit. I knew she understood, but I remember the very last day of her life, we had brought my father. He was in a convalescent hospital in recovery. Brought him over in a wheelchair. My sister was there on the piano. We had a family piano in the living room, and I had my guitar, and my dad played really good harmonica. In fact, he played on our album. You listen to the song Never Feed a Bear, that's my father. He had actually did that when he was outside the convalescent hospital. He actually played the harmonica part of that, and he was like 95 years old, so it's pretty amazing. But there we were, my mom's bedside. She was in hospice, so we moved the bed in the living room, and there we were entertaining her, and we played Home on the Range. It was pretty amazing. She was conscious somewhat, but then we had to take Dad back to his convalescent care, and then we knew it would be a short time. I think probably the hardest thing, if you've ever experienced this, is to actually be with a loved one when they actually pass. I was with my mom. I was holding her hand and talking to her. She was looking in my eyes, and I was holding her hand with my sister, telling her how much I loved her. And I just knew in the couple minutes there that she was getting ready to pass. I just knew it. And I remember just saying, "Hey Mom, do you see your brother? Do you see your sisters? Is your mom there?" I said, "You see them over there? They're waiting for you. They're waiting for you, Mom. They love you and they're waiting." And she gave me a look, and mind you, she was conscious somewhat, and she agreed that she saw them on the other side. And I almost know for certain that they were there waiting for her. And I remember when she took her last breath, I looked at her eyes and you could see, and then I felt a brush of warm air leave the room. It was uncanny, and I looked up in the living room, and there the vent was, and I felt some air move around me. And then I remember opening the front door right away, because I felt that there was a spirit traveling. And I lost my mom. She was everything to me. Now getting back to the songwriting, the music of the story. It was less than a year after my mom had passed on, that it was her birthday. And I remember being restless all night long. And I woke up several times thinking about it, dreading it, as we sometimes do over holidays and special occasions. And I woke up that morning, I was getting dressed, and on my dresser counter, I had a brush and a comb. And I remember I was just frustrating, feeling sad. And I went to go grab the comb, and it fell behind this big heavy dresser cabinet. And I go dreading it. I probably used a few cuss words. I go, great, now I gotta lift this big dresser cabinet up. Well, I did. I went down on the ground, pulled it out as best I could, and I reached my hand around there to grab the comb, and I felt a little piece of paper. I lifted that paper up. This is what it was. This is my mom's birthday. That's my mom. What's interesting is this photograph, I had lost it. I didn't know where it ended up. It was on her birthday that morning, reaching behind. This is the only thing I found besides the comb. And it said on the back that this was Mother's Day. And my dad said, "These are the beautiful flowers you sent your mom." And what's amazing is, this was on Mother's Day. This was 2 months before she passed on. So that's my mom, Ruthanna, which inspired this next song, and it's called The Picture Book. Now, the picture book is a poem that I set to chords. I would like to just perform it a cappella without instrument. It's the nature of the song, and it was inspired by that and many other occasions I had missing my mom. This goes out to all our mothers out there that we've lost. We still miss them every Mother's Day, every Christmas. It's hard to live without them, isn't it? Anyways, picture book. It's late in the evening, I hear a voice call. I turn on my lights as I hear the rain fall, and straight to my closet in a place that I knew, that worn out old book with the pictures of you. Though they never answer, still frozen in time, so many questions still drift through my mind. And just like an angel, you wake from your sleep, standing in silence with those pictures I keep. Then, like the summer, your light fills this room. Warm are the memories that I have of you. One precious moment and one lasting look. I turn every page and I close up the book. It's late in the evening, there's no sound at all. I turn off the lights as I feel the rain fall. So that was to my mom, Ruthanna, but it's to your mom too, because we have those picture books, don't we? There they are. We run into them every day. They're on the wall, they're in the cabinet, and you get that feeling. So anyways, that's for the mothers out there that we've lost and their memories. We still cherish them, don't we? I like to dedicate this to all our moms out there. Love you guys. If you like this, subscribe. And hopefully you'll be in tune for the next one. And I'm your ghost songwriter. I'm your host, Patrick Michael Karnahan. Happy Mother's Day from my family ranch, the Gold Wall Ranch in Jamestown, California. And there's the Lazarus tree back there. So anyways, I'll go out with a picture of my mom, Ruthanna. Love you, Mom.